All right, I have talked about how I would fix um, some aspects of the generic universal role-playing system, GURPS, by Steve Jackson Games. Um, and one of those is part of that is a review of the different advantages and skills presented in GURPS. And the one I have been going over recently is uh, sensory advantages and seeing if I can come up with a more universal framework for those. This is a small offshoot to that where I want to talk about perception, the perception secondary characteristic. So in GURPS, you have four primary uh, four primary statistics. You have strength, dexterity, your intelligence, and your health. And part of your intelligence is your ability to understand the world around you, receive stimulus, and make sense of that. So that's why your perception is based off of your intelligence score. You can modify that up and down as much as you want. So intelligence costs 20 points per level. Your perception costs 5 points per level, say per level. And you can go up and down with that. So you could add +1. So having one higher perception than your intelligence costs an extra 5 points. Having two lower perception than your intelligence costs -10 points. That's how it works. You can also modify these with modifiers. So in GURPS, like for example, strength, if you are a large creature, you might have a size modifier that makes your that makes your strength cheaper to raise, or that makes it cheaper to have higher strength. So what I want to do is take the acute vision, right? Acute hearing, acute smell or taste. And you could add on to this list, but it also specifies that you can just add on another acute sense, some other sense that your creature might have. And these cost 2 per level, right? They all cost 2 per level. And, if each level of this just increases your effective perception score for that sense by 1. So if you have more than 2 of these, you might as well just raise your perception. And I think there's a better way to go about doing this. I don't even think we need these traits at all. What I would do is I would just create a modifier on perception that is a limited modifier to the sense. And I think I would make that worth -60% for 1 sense. So 5, you take 60% away of 5 away, and that leaves us 40% of 5, which is 2, which is exactly how much this costs. Say for 1 sense, sorry. But what about for 2 senses? I would say make it -40%. That way it costs 3 points per level, a little bit more than half of your perception, to have 2. -20% for 3 senses. That way it costs 4 per level. Your perception will cost 4 per level if raising your perception only affects 1 sense, or only affect your increase in perception only affects 3 senses. So you could have better vision, hearing, and let's say touch. It should only cost you 4 points instead of 6. Is my argument here. And then if it's for 4 or more, right? Just have that be, at that point, just raise your perception level. But this also works in reverse. If you have worse smell or taste, or worse hearing, or worse detection of nearby metal, if you have the detect advantage for that, you could reduce those using these same modifiers. So now, if you have worse hearing, minus 60% for 1 sense. Now that's minus 2 for minus 1 to your hearing score. And now you may not even need the hard of hearing disadvantage. So anyway, so this is my fix to perception. So now we can just say I have perception, perception plus 2, which is limited to, let's just say, vision and hearing, which is going to be worth minus 40% because it's 2 senses. So that, plus for the 2 senses, minus 40%. So plus 2 would cost 10 points. So the remaining 60% of that costs 6 points. All right, that's how I'd fix acute vision, acute hearing, acute smell, and taste with just using the base perception with a modifier. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me on my creative journey. I hope yours is going well. Let me know how it's going in the comments below, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.